The Assembly will hear an address by His Excellency Luis Rodolfo Abinader Corona, President of the Dominican Republic. I request protocol to escort His Excellency and invite him to address the Assembly.
Excelentísimo
Your Excellency, Mr. Philemon Yang, President of the 79th session of the UN General Assembly, Your Excellency, Mr. Antonio Guterres, United Nations Secretary General, heads of state and government, distinguished heads of delegation, ladies and gentlemen. I wish, on behalf of the Dominican people, to express my congratulations to Mr. Philemon Yang on his election as President of this Assembly. In turn, I would like to thank him for his work and thank the Secretary General for the successful organization of this 79th session and in particular for the recently closed Summit of the Future. This ambitious effort stressed the need to bolster international financing to ensure that we can attain the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. It demonstrates the sincere determination to work for a present and future of peace, civic well-being, respect for human rights, and democratic values. I'd like to emphasize that in the Dominican Republic, we have made considerable headway in the SDGs in poverty reduction, food security, energy sustainability, public safety, and climate action, just to cite a few examples. By way of example, monetary poverty shrank from 25.8% in 2019 to 23% in 2023. This despite the pandemic and the effects of the war. And in the first half of this year, it fell to 18.9%, which is the lowest level in our history. Over the 4 years of our administration, we have more than doubled spending on social protection. Our agricultural policy has been key to guaranteeing food security and maintaining profitability for Dominican farmers. Despite being an island with limited amounts of arable land, we have managed to boost our food self-sufficiency from 88.5% in 2019 to 90.6% in 2023. Indeed, we've established self-sufficiency in this sector to a large extent. Turning to the generation, transmission, and distribution of affordable and clean energy, we've made significant strides and important improvements in electric regulations. We are beginning to build 2,000 new megawatts in thermal generation, and we've signed contracts for 1,600 megawatts of renewable energy, with 600 megawatts already in operation and 1,300 in construction. By the end of 2027, for the first time, we will have a surplus generation capacity of over 15%. This will guarantee greater stability, sustainability, and prices for our energy supply. Public safety has also seen a considerable improvement. In 2022, the murder rate in our country stood at 13.2 for every 100,000 inhabitants. In 2023, it fell to 11.5, and in 2024, so far, it stands at 9.9. This figure is below the average for Latin America and the Caribbean, which, according to UN data, is 17.2. We stand steadfast in our commitment to tackle the triple planetary crisis: climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution. Playing a fundamental role in establishing the Fund for Loss and Damage Fund and achieving the target of 30 by 30 in protecting our marine areas. All of these crucial topics warrant our full attention. However, the resurgence of war and unchecked violence mean that we are forced to focus on this regrettable emergency. Since its adoption in 1945, the United Nations Charter has served us well. But after 7 decades, a series of challenges have built up which now threaten to spill over the existing institutional framework, as was stressed by the Secretary-General in his opening statement. There is a widespread consensus that we urgently need a new model of global governance, a model that fosters greater trust and effectiveness in the decisions that emanate from this crucial concert of nations. For the Dominican Republic, commitment to effective and renewed multilateralism is a priority. We believe this approach is needed to guarantee respect for international law and to protect nations from global threats that compromise their security and well-being. Without concerted, principles-based action, the foundations of the international community will continue to erode. Since its formation, the Dominican Republic has been a standard bearer for peace and the peaceful settlement of conflicts. The loss of thousands of innocent lives of children and the aging is unacceptable. For this reason, we speak up to strongly demand effective protection for our civilian population in line with the norms of international humanitarian law. There is a solid theory that posits that democracies rarely go into war against others. Dominicans are convinced that the promotion of democracy is essential for the building of lasting peace. Democracy cannot be reduced to a system of mechanic procedures. Democracy has to be a living reality which positively transforms our citizens' lives. President, we stand at a crucial juncture for democracy in Latin America and the Caribbean. Over the last few decades, we have borne witness to considerable deterioration in the quality of and support for democratic systems. In line with according to the Latino Barometer poll, support for democracy has fallen significantly from between 2010 and 2023, and at the same time authoritarianism increased. Many factors have impacted this decline, including the effects of frequent economic global crises, which have become cyclical since the end of the 1990s. Another factor is also that citizens are not seeing the tangible benefits of democracy and are very concerned by personalism and corruption, which undermine trust in democratic institutions. In light of this, a clear propensity to remain in power stands out, which in the case of Latin America has taken the form of indefinite re-election, which over the last 30 years has eroded democracy. One example of this is the crisis in Venezuela, which combines a concentration of power, persecution of the opposition, and censure of the media. Without due transparency of the electoral process and without necessary documentation, the crisis will further worsen. We continue to insist on the publication of all electoral records and their verification by impartial institutions in respect for the results of the popular will in Venezuela. Without the publication of these documents, a legitimate winner will not be able to be declared. Transfers of power are essential to guaranteeing responsible and genuinely participatory politics. Democracy is based on a founding principle. The loser has to accept their defeat and exercise true, faithful, constructive opposition. Another democratic principle establishes that the winner must not bully nor crush their adversary. Democracy cannot be exercised solely by and for the winners. The majority has to be treated with respect, and the minority has to be included, including equal rights and ensuring that they are treated with equity and justice. On the 19th of May, the Dominican people re-elected me at the first round for a second and final presidential mandate, which led to a qualified majority in both chambers of the Congress. I'm looking ahead to strengthening Dominican democracy, and to this end, I presented a constitutional reform to the Dominican Congress, which will comprehensively limit presidential re-elections to 2 consecutive terms and no more. This reform aims to leave a legacy of greater political and social stability to future generations, and aims to establish a general principle that is clear and robust. That power is always transitory and must be there to serve the people. Mr. President, every democracy needs to make a commitment to defending human rights. It is fundamental to protecting dignity and the freedom of every individual, and to provide legitimacy to political power. The Dominican government is profoundly committed to protecting human rights at a national and international level. This commitment is an integral part of our foreign policy. This establishes the promotion and defense of human rights as one of its main pillars. Here there can be no horse trading nor factions, just principles. For this reason, the crisis in Haiti warrants particular attention. For more than 3 years now, the instability in our neighboring country has put significant pressure on our own security. We have firmly been asking for the involvement of the international community to show its sustained leadership in stabilizing Haiti. This is a strategic need for security in my country and across the whole region. The Dominican state has shouldered a high responsibility in the Haitian crisis, far more than should be expected of it, by providing essential services to a large amount of the population from our neighboring country. In 2023, medical appointments to Haitian immigrants represented 9.9% of the total medical appointments provided in our national health system. In addition, there are currently around 200,000 foreign minors in our Dominican public education system, of which it is thought that 147,000 are Haitian in origin. These figures reflect the supportive commitment shown by the Dominican Republic, but we can't do it alone. After a long struggle for the adoption of various resolutions within the Security Council, we finally began to see a path towards stability with the establishment of the Transitional Presidential Council and the arrival of the Multinational Security Support Mission in Haiti. We take this opportunity to express our thanks to Kenya and to President Ruto, which has provided the majority of the personnel supporting the Haitian National Police. We further thank the United States, which has shouldered most of the financial and logistics burden. Likewise, we thank Jamaica, Bahamas, and El Salvador that have already sent their contributions. Further, we thank CARICOM for its efforts towards dialogue and agreement and consultation in Haiti. The Dominican Republic has made its own contribution by providing emergency health services to the Multinational Security Support Mission. To date, only 400 of the MSS troops have been deployed out of a minimum of 1,000 that are needed to ensure that the force can be effective. We need this to be established so that the free, fair, and transparent elections can be held. Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached this point with great sacrifices, but practically 1 year from the holding of elections in Haiti, the conditions are still not in place for us to do so. We cannot allow the efforts that have been made to date to fail. If that were to happen, Haiti's collapse would be imminent, and the consequences of that would affect the entire region. This mission is an exceptional source of hope for the establishment of normality in Haiti. A failure could lead to us needing to take drastic measures to protect our national security. It's unacceptable that at this stage of the game, some of the countries that have had an impact on the Haitian situation or that have committed to resolving it have not fully kept their promises. While my country's national security is implicated, I will not let up in my demands for stability in Haiti. President, the Dominican Republic and the government that I preside will continue cooperating with the international community in a supportive, committed manner to meet the Sustainable Development Goals. The global landscape means that we need to act as a cohesive community with, like a true concert of nations, with one common goal and an aligned vision for the future. We'll be judged by history, not only in terms of the speeches that we give in these illustrious halls, but also, more importantly, for the actions that we undertake in practice. We cannot fail our peoples. We cannot fail humanity. We cannot fail the future. Thank you very much.
On behalf of the Assembly, I wish to thank the President of the Dominican Republic. The Assembly will hear an address